Burgami. Break the vision, building perspective, issue dissect views, mindsets.
Those farmers, those marketers, processors and marketers still earn from agriculture, not only for themselves, but also for Nigeria.
On Burgami, the current affairs morning teaser on Vision FM 92.1, where Nigerians discuss Nigeria.
It's very sad. Even the places that have been demolished, they have been allocated to themselves. I can see crisis ahead of us.
There's something definitely wrong with our reward system, and that attracts corruption. How many Nigerians, civil servants, can today be able to put a roof over their head with the salary they are receiving?
Burgami, current, expository, daring.
Observing the trends of corruption within the National Assembly, within the executive arm of the government, at the state, at the local government, state, and the national level, whatever is determined, unless the issue of corruption is being tackled, we attaining the state of development by using a term of government as a yardstick will remain a mirage in Nigeria.
Burgami, every weekday at 8 a.m., exclusive to the vision of the nation's capital.
A very good morning to you and welcome to Burgami Classic, our flagship current affairs program that is thought-provoking, expository, revealing, incisive and action-paced. Burgami airs every weekday from 8 to 9 a.m. on Vision FM 92.1, where we engage with the nation's most pressing issues. And this interactive show offers in-depth analysis and informative discussions on burning national topics. For the first 30 minutes, the presenter will actually engage with our guests, experts, and then after the half-hour mark, we open the phone lines for you, our listeners, to share your thoughts and contribute to the conversation. And afterwards, our guests will respond to your comments and concerns. And for today, we will be discussing the significance of the reactivation of the Port Harcourt refinery to Nigeria's oil sector. I am Peace Kessa. Stay tuned. Once more again, good morning and welcome to Burgami Classic. And as stated earlier, I said for today's topic, we'll be talking about the significance of the reactivation of the Port Harcourt refinery to Nigeria's oil sector. The news of the Port Harcourt refinery being reactivated actually sparked a lot of buzz in the industry. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, here's a bit background of today's conversation. So after several postponements, the Port Harcourt refinery has finally commenced field production. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited confirmed this on Tuesday. NNPC spokesperson Olufemi Sonoye said the loading of the trucks started on Tuesday and Port Harcourt refinery begins production. Truck loading started on Tuesday, Sonoye told National Daily. And in another update on X, the NNPCL said NNPC Limited delivers Port Harcourt refinery as the plant begins truck outs of products today, Tuesday, 26th November 2024 at 1:45 p.m. Watch the commissioning and trucking out event live, he said. It is learned that the refinery would start with 60,000 barrels capacity per day, releasing premium motor spirit diesel, and others in the Nigerian market. The Port Harcourt refinery would be the second petrol-producing refinery after the Dangote refinery commenced PMS production in September, and it is one of the three owned by the federal government and managed by NNPCL. Nigerians have been hopeful that the cost of fuel would crash if the country refines its crudes and ends the import of refined products. The refinery, which is situated in Nigeria's oil-rich Niger Delta region, has been in operation since 1965, but later became moribund for several years. And in March 2021, the Nigerian government acquired a $1.5 billion loan for the renovation and modernization of the refinery. Promises made to Nigeria by the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the NNPC about the refinery failed 7 times before now. Barely 2 months after the September completion deadline failed, the NNPC explained last week why it could not deliver the much-awaited Port Harcourt refinery at the scheduled time. In an interview, Sonoye said the company encountered risks and challenges while carrying out the rehabilitation, being a brownfield project. The Port Harcourt refinery comprises 2 units, with the old plant having a refinery capacity of 60,000 barrels per day and the new plant 150,000 barrels per day, both summing up to 210,000 barrels per day. And I am not here alone in the studio. I've got with me my guest in the studio, who happens to be Professor Ahmed Adamu, a petroleum economist. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning. Thank you.
Okay, so like I said, he's a petroleum economist, and we'll be having a conversation right here in the studio for 30 minutes. And afterwards, we'll be opening the phone lines for you to call in and air your opinion about the matter for today. Once more again, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, so I'd like to start with you. The first question: how excited are you, hearing that the Port Harcourt refinery has actually commenced production?
Yeah, it's a good development. Everyone is happy after the Dangote refinery, which is a huge development in the sector. For years, we've been craving for local refining capacity, but now we have 2 working. So it's a good development. It's kudos to the NNPCL for rehabilitating this Port Harcourt refinery. If you could recall, during the past administration, President Muhammadu Buhari was the one that gave the contract to an Italian company to rehabilitate the Port Harcourt refinery. So generally, it's a good development. It's a good thing for the economy, especially when you look at the removal of subsidy. So we're looking at how do we get a cheaper petroleum product in the country. So this is the very good development. So if you look at the refinery at stake here, which is the Port Harcourt refinery, so we need to be clear about what's really happened. This news, to what extent should we celebrate? Because the Port Harcourt refinery is of 2 units.
Yeah, the 60,000 and the 150,000.
Exactly. So in 1965, the first refinery was built in Nigeria, and that's the 60,000 barrel per day refining capacity in Port Harcourt. So that's the oldest. And if you look at all the main refineries in Nigeria, that's the smallest. It has the 60,000 barrels per day. So that's what we started seeing this week, loading trucks of petroleum products from that refinery. So it's a good development, even though it's insignificant, because if you look at that number, 60,000 barrel per day, if you are to convert it into liters of petroleum products, let's say if you have the operation capacity of 90%, even though the news said
it's operating at 70% at the moment, they said, with time, they would actually move up to 90%. And it was said by NNPCL that, that they are producing the 60,000 barrels per day capacity refinery at the moment is producing 1.4 million liters of fuel.
Yeah, but if you say 70% capacity, because when I run the figures, about 90% capacity, if it is to run at 90%, then the refinery can do 8.6 million liters per day of petroleum products. So we have to be very categorical about which products, because when you are refining, the primary unit of distillation, you're going to get the AGO, the DPK, and naphtha. But for the PMS, you have to blend other components to get the PMS. And you can procure these components from other petrochemical plants. So a refiner may not necessarily have to get all the components from its plant, but can procure that. So since we cannot get PMS from the primary unit of distillation, so we have to ask ourselves here, because what's most important for Nigerians is the PMS. So what components of that? So even if you are to operate at 90%, the PMS we can get is about 2-3 million liters of that. And if you compare that with the daily consumption of about 60 million liters per day, and now you are adding 2 million. It's good development, even though it looks very insignificant. But we have to appreciate those guys that have done this work. And the other units, which has the 150,000 barrels per day refining capacity, is the next on the line. Because the funding strategy is that with the $1.5 billion that's going to be funded partly by the government and partly by the NNPC and the Afrexim Bank. The NNPC proceeds will contribute about $200 million to rehabilitate these two units. So this 1.5 billion has not been exhausted. It's been released on tranches. So what this refinery, 60,000 barrel capacity, does not mean that 1.5 billion was spent on rehabilitating it. And $800 million will be contributed from the government revenue, and the rest from the Afrexim Bank contribution. The loan from Afrexim Bank had a condition that says that if I'm giving you this loan, so you have to make sure that you have a competent operator. Because for years we've been seeing rehabilitations, maintenance, spending a lot of money, but doing that over and over again. So when can we have one last rehabilitation so that we don't keep wasting the resources? So one of the strategies is that after this rehabilitation, the NNPC will continue to own this refinery, perhaps appoint the MD, the manager, and the financial controller, whatever has to do with finance. But when it comes to the operation, deciding how to go about the operation, operational decisions and control, a competent operator will be appointed to manage this refinery. So this is more sustainable than handing over back to NNPCL. Even though NNPCL is now a commercial entity, it still had the capacity, I believe, to manage it, but it's safer to have a competent that has international experience in managing or running refineries. So that will give this operator less interference, even political interference, and so that we can leverage their expertise. Because this funding, the refineries will have to pay back the investments. So they have to operate on profit motive. So we are not expecting that these refineries will be like a government refineries. They are equally more of a private refinery because they are profit motivated. So it's not a government refinery, it's a commercialized refinery.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question from what you just said. So the presidency actually came out, this was on the 25th of this month, and they were talking about plans to actually complete privatization of the Nigerian state-owned refineries. And you said it's better for someone else to actually handle the refinery. So are you in support of privatization of the state refineries?
Yeah, if you look at NPCL is not a fully government operated company. It's because it's commercial. It's owned by the government, of course, but it's commercialized. And NPCL is the owner of these refineries. And NPCL has hired an Italian company to do this rehabilitation and is handing over this refinery to a competent private operator. So this is more like a privatization. Of course, I'm a proponent of privatization for efficiency, especially for government enterprises. So I support that because Wari, that has about 125,000 barrels per day capacity, is coming soon, likely. We don't know how soon they're going to be. Kaduna refinery that has about 110,000 barrels capacity is also coming on board. So if you can have this similar operating system, we have a competent operator, that would be very, very good. And it's common practice. Even in the upstream value chain, we see people being hired as service providers to manage fields and facilities. So for refining, it's also a common practice. So what we are looking at is we're going to have other byproducts like AGO, DPK, naphtha. We have the heavy and light naphtha that we can get from this refinery. So it has huge advantage. So like another advantage we have is the Eleme petrochemicals plants. That's also owned by, I believe, the government or NPCL. I forgot about that one. But we can have it within the proximity of this refinery, where they can get some of its components into this refinery to blend to generate the PMS locally. So the 200 trucks they talk about is not only PMS. It's all products combined. So that's the product capacity of this refinery. And if you are to rehabilitate all the refineries owned by the NNPC, the total capacity you can have in a day is 22 million liters per day. So NNPC, out of 60 million daily consumption, at full capacity of all these refineries can add 22 million. So, but we already have the Dangote refinery that can refine more than 600,000 barrels a day. And if you put these figures and all these refineries come on stream, then Nigeria will become a net exporter of petroleum products. For years, we have been importing petrol, but now we are net exporters. The country is going to be wet. Everywhere, petrol. And then we're going to get foreign exchange from exporting petroleum products. And if you have more foreign exchange, what happens to the Naira? The Naira will appreciate, and that reduces the inflation. So this is huge benefit. So if you can focus on fixing these refineries, we are also fixing the Naira issue, which has been the major concern in this economy. And it's been very funny in the country when we have more than 95% of our foreign exchange earning coming from crude oil or from the oil sector. But if you look at the contribution of the oil sector to the GDP, in the last quarter was just about 5.5%, which is grossly inadequate because there is no post-extraction activities in the industry. But with refineries coming on board, petrochemical plants, more jobs will be created, product will be available, and the price is going to go low. Because if you look at the market, the two variables, the market factors that affect the price, which are the dollar and the crude oil price. For crude oil price, of course, international events could affect that. We didn't have control over that one. But for the exchange rates is what we have in our control. So if we can import, if you can export more, then we can make the dollar become cheaper, and then the doing of the refining business will become less expensive, which makes the refiners to produce at cheaper rate, because refining is a global business. Even if you produce if you have a refinery in your backyard, it's international business. It is a level field. So these refineries, though they are in Nigeria, but they are affected by common factors in the international market. So that's for the price that we cannot control the market variables. But this will create competition when we have many refineries. People will be competing. We have one in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, Wari, Kaduna. So you have competitors. Everyone will be competing to get the customers. So the marketers will now have option to choose where to buy their products, and that will give them the chance to now bargain for a cheaper price. And then everyone wants to compare their price. Dangote will be comparing his price with Wari price. Wari will be comparing their price with Kaduna refinery price, and then everyone wants to reduce a margin just to attract the marketers.
Okay.
And that will also lead to the demand for these refineries to quickly pay back their investments, because all of them, you can look at Dangote also invested $20 billion in his refinery, and when we're talking about $1.5 billion just to rehabilitate the Port Harcourt joint refining capacities. And each of these refineries, they are quicker. They want to pay back their investment. So if you want to pay back your investment faster, what you need to do is to reduce your price to get more revenue. Because when you have competition, the demand for your product becomes elastic. And if you have elastic demand for your products, if you want to increase your revenue, you don't increase price. You reduce price so that revenue will go higher because you have competitors. So by reducing the price, the customers, the Nigerian consumers, will now benefit from low price. And if you remove the marine cost, the cost of bringing the product via the ship, offloading it, transporting it to the depot, paying for the farm tanks, storage costs, and other levies and charges in these sea ports. If you remove all these marine costs, you realize that you are saving huge costs compared to the one you are importing. So we should be seeing at the moment, based on the current economic conditions, price around the 900 naira per liter range, which is very good, coming down from 1,000. So if other variables are changing, even recently we saw Dangote cutting down 20 naira per liter, which is good, which means that prices are reflecting to the market. And one of the advantages is that we have these refineries dispersed across the country. In every part of the country, except for one or two regions, you have a refinery, if they are to come on the stream. And there are other refineries coming on stream too. Other people are building and investing in refinery. So the dispersed refineries brings the product from the source closer to the people. So the proximity there makes it more reliable and cheaper, because you don't have to do the local transportation, which adds to the price.
Okay, so before we come down to the people talking about prices and how, it's real actually, whether or not the price will actually go down or not. So why do you think, NNPCL, surprised Nigerians with the announcement of the reactivation of the plant? Because as of September, they came out and then they said it will start working, but then we didn't hear anything. It didn't start production. But then this one, they just came out and then it said 200 trucks are already there and offloading products from the refinery. Why do you think they decided to surprise Nigerians?
Surprise. So it's a surprise, because surprise are more sometimes entertaining than giving someone hope, and then you put yourself in the trap of failing or disappointing people, because sometimes you don't have control over what happens. It's usually when the contractors, they have other challenges, technical issues, which some of them are unforeseen, and they just happen. So instead of promising Nigerians it's going to come tomorrow, next tomorrow, and then it didn't come, and then you are disappointed. You are losing your credibility, and people will lose hope and confidence in you. So LPCL have learned their lessons. They say, instead of saying next day, tomorrow, next month, we just surprise Nigerians. And hey, we have the refineries, we have Port Harcourt is on. Maybe who knows? Maybe Wari is coming next. So Nigerians will always be hoping for the next big surprise. So it's a very good thing that NNPC is changing their strategy. Kudos to them for what they have done. I appreciate that kind of surprise thing. It's even more sustaining than say we can do it here and then we cannot do it. So I appreciate that stuff. And now another thing that is appreciative is that when NNPC said they're allocating 445,000 barrels per day to all the refineries in Nigeria, so that you don't have to go outside looking for crude oil. So if you are a refinery in Nigeria, you have a guarantee of 445,000 barrels of crude oil every day for all of you. So it's not for one refinery. So before, this domestic market supply is enjoyed only by Dangote refinery, because that's the sole refinery we have. But now we have the Port Harcourt refinery. We have other refineries coming on the stream, and then they will share this domestic supply. So it's a very good development, and because of this, you're going to have more refineries coming on the stream in Nigeria. More investors are coming because of these incentives.
Hopefully they do come through. So talking about, marketers, oil stakeholders are hoping for a reduction, of the pump price of petrol. And they are already threatening to actually boycott, NNPCL, as they've said that PMS must be cheaper than what they get from Dangote's refinery. Do you think, this optimism is too early? Do you think this demand is, too early coming from the marketers?
Marketers cannot demand price. They only receive price. So nobody determines price. In a competitive market, everyone is a price taker. So you don't determine your price. So Dangote refinery does not fix price too. Marketers, they don't ask for price. The only thing you can change is your quantity. If you don't want the price, then don't buy. Then reduce your quantity. If Dangote sees his supplies and set a price and people are not coming to buy, you must reduce the price. So it's the market that determines what price prevails. And the market is about the supply and the demand. So Dangote, as an independent refiner, will say, this is my price. And if you are willing to buy, then you buy. So they should not expect Dangote refinery to reduce the price.
So they're talking about NNPCL to actually reduce the price, the Port Harcourt refinery. They're expecting them to, reduce the price, saying they cannot buy the products for a same price they are buying from Dangote refinery.
What makes a difference? There is no big difference between Dangote refinery and Port Harcourt refinery, because they operate in the same market. They buy the same crude oil and at the same price, and they also deal with the same dollar, and they are all in the same country. So all the markets indicators and indices are the same. Just because it belongs to NNPC does not mean that it should sell at a loss. There is no subsidy. The market is liberalized. NNPC must make profits. NNPC remitted more than 10 trillion in this year into the FAC, into Federation account. So NNPC is mandated, is under pressure to remit resources. So it cannot continue to expose itself to subsidizing petrol. So there is no subsidy. If the cost of producing a liter is 90, NNPC can put a margin of, let's say, 10%. And on top of that, you have to buy it at that price. So it's the market that determines the price.
Not the marketers.
Not the marketers.
Okay, so onto the question before we open the phone lines. So petroleum products from the Port Harcourt Refinery Company are exclusively for the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited for now, the oil giant said yesterday. How justified is this?
Sorry, can you take that again?
So petroleum products from the Port Harcourt Refinery Company are exclusively for the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited for now. That's what the oil giant said yesterday. And the question is, how justified is this?
Yeah, because Port Harcourt Refinery belongs to the NNPCL. No one else. Like I said, a lot of people think that once it's rehabilitated, it will be privatized. I mean, sold to another hand, to another person. But like I told you, NNPC is already looking to hire a competent operator that will operate and maintain this refinery. But NNPC will continue to own and supervise what happened in this refinery, and they will be the managers in terms of human resource, in terms of financing. But when it comes to operational control and maintenance, is going to be done by an independent operator. And that operator has no stake, will only be paid for their services, just like a service contract. So, Port Harcourt Refinery still belongs to the NNPC. And NNPCL, though owned by the government, is aimed to make profit. It's not there to make to provide subsidy, because it's illegal now to provide subsidy.
Okay, so this is where we open the phone line to be part of this morning's conversation. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning and welcome to the show. Your name and location.
Thank you. My name is Bala Mohammed. I'm calling from Zuba Fruits Market.
Welcome to the show.
Just in the studio.
Morning.
Thank you. I have a question for the guest in the studio. Excuse me. We've seen that some months ago, before even the start of the Dangote refinery, this CMS, or rather fuel, is being shipped to Nigeria. They buy from Malta or wherever, and they ship it, and we buy from the people that ship that fuel, but at a reduced price, despite the cost of the transportation or whatever. But now we have the Dangote refinery, and now this one that is coming up, but the prices are so exorbitant. Not like when they were importing this fuel. I wonder what's wrong. We have the refineries here. They don't ship it to anywhere because of transportation. It's no more there. You know, like it's not even compared to that of bringing from outside. But instead of us having the fuel at a reduced price, we are even buying it more than the ones they even brought from abroad, despite the shipping and whatever cost. So I wonder what's wrong. Good morning.
Okay, keep your calls coming in.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning and welcome to the show. Please help me reduce the volume of your radio.
Yes, yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Yes.
Yeah. This is a good development that refinery Port Harcourt, as how we are hearing say that.
Before you go on, please your name and your location.
Okay. Sorry, my name is Abubakar Ibrahim from Old Kalmo.
Welcome.
This is a good development. But the main problem, madam, you know, since past that administration, that Muhammad Buhari, around 2023, they have promised us say that by September last 2023, just refinery, they are going to start work. And it is now 2024, around November. They are telling us the Port Harcourt has started working. Okay, what of the Kaduna refinery? When is going to start the work? But the main problem, madam, is lack of no punishment in this country. Because the people in the refinery, in the NNPC, they will not allow to see those refinery working. They are spent billions of naira and repair this refinery. Later on, maybe it cannot take 1 year it's working. My question is this. Is it only refinery, petroleum, the government getting revenues? What of the other companies that we know that they are working? What can them try their best and see the other company they are working so that the refinery can get a good, take a long time to working? Because relying of this petroleum, that is why we are getting all these problems in this country. So please, my advice to federal government, they should get another income for getting refinery, not only for getting revenue, not only petroleum. But if they do like that, they get almost 2 ways or 3 ways for getting revenues. So we hope they are going to do something about the company that they run down in Nigeria. That's my contribution this morning. Thank you.
Okay, keep your calls coming in. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the show. Your name?
Yeah, my name is Gulahi Sharubutu, and I'm calling from Maraba. See, I get your guest with wonderful analysis. There's one thing I want to quickly do. You see, let me first and foremost salute Mr. President for taking these bold initiatives. Let me also exclusively salute Mele Kyari, the NNPP head, for also being a very laudable idea, putting us on a wonderful platform. But you see, we cannot begin to bask in this euphoria for now. Because one, I think they have started on the right hand. What would be the issue when we now get to, I think, the midstream? The maintenance culture of Nigeria is a problem. Are they also putting that in place to see how some of all these things can properly be taken care of, the maintenance culture? What are they also doing to quickly fix other refineries? Because if you wake up and you say, oh, just one refinery, and it's just producing 50,000 barrels per day, I think it's not enough for all of us in this country. So they must at least do the need to properly also see how other refineries can come on stream so that Nigerians can have a real new lease of life as far as this wonderful renew agenda of this present government is on this up to. That's my contribution. Have a wonderful day and bye-bye for now.
Good morning and welcome to the show. Your name and location.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Alaji. Good morning to the studio.
Morning.
I'm happy to hear from all the contributors to this program. Thank you for that. Before I start my own contribution, I don't want to believe it's a surprise by the NFPCL. It's not a surprise. What we call a surprise is something that you're first seeing before hard and just see. This is a thing that has been telling us that this month, other year, other time, this day, and you keep failing how we like to surprise that kind of thing. But nevertheless, it's a record development. We are happy that one of our friends is working, and we are praying that others should also start working. And I don't want Nigeria to rely on this oil of the thing because this black gold has cost a lot of pain and got us backwards. We should also try to diversify, use the agriculture, using the solar, getting the vehicle that use electric without fuel. Because in a year, in time to come, we are in the digital world, in analog. Very soon, those cars that even use this fuel will not be available again. It will be our old stock and old school. So we should try to diversify. And I want for us to keep this refinery working, we must stabilize it. I'm telling you, there is no industrial sector belongs to Nigerian government that is working today. Where is Nigeria Airways? And where are our refineries? Where is MTFA? Where is, name them, all these companies and industries that belong to Nigeria are not working because of corruption. We should privatize it. Let anybody who has the capacity or the ability take over it and manage it well, and we should keep collecting our own tax so as we move our country forward, rather than giving some individual and they will reach their family, their pocket, and they will also sabotage it. And also, in short, anything can happen. Because I have not seen one single sector that Nigeria government owns is working. Imagine those air-refined buses that were belong to Nigeria. Look how many years ago. No one of them is working now. Look at the line up there. No plan for them. Imagine when you have a car, you bought a car, come shopping, share them, all those things. So they should better let us move it forward and let the other one be completed so that we can have a reduction of fuel price. So that other communities will come down drastically. We are suffering at times. Then now we have to hope that in time to come, if the other one is completed and we are this way and is exporting it, surely the dollar will fall down, our GDP will grow, and other prices like bread, gari, beans, rice, and the rest of them will also come down by God's grace. We are happy. God bless Nigeria. God bless the government. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to the show. Your name and location.
My name is Oga Gabriel. I'm calling from Barimba this morning.
Welcome.
I read the guest to the show.
Thank you so much.
I think you see they came with a surprise by announcing the operation of Port Harcourt refinery. Like Alaji said, it's no longer a surprise. It has been, they have been telling us that they are renovating the refinery for long. They have put a lot of money into the refinery several times and it was not working. But thank God, maybe because of what people are telling them that a single person, a private person, built a refinery and is operating and is working. That's why the government wake up from their slumber and making Port Harcourt refinery working. Our prayer is that other refineries should also work. Because it is not only Port Harcourt refinery we have. If all other refineries are working and petrol is always available, then it will be better for us. Then the question I wanted to ask has been answered by the guest. It's about the price. That the price of the Port Harcourt refinery, NNPC will not, NNPC, not the Port Harcourt refinery. NNPC will not come down because the Port Harcourt refinery is working. I think that even if there's no subsidy, at the government, and anywhere there's government marketing and private marketing, I think that of government should be less, should cost less, because this is government. The money they put in there to renovate this refinery is public money. And the refinery itself belongs to Nigeria. You understand? So I don't know. Even if there's no subsidy, in every market where government market is and private market is, I think that of government supposed to be supposed to cost less. But it's very unfortunate these days. What I'm even thinking about is maybe they want to bring the Dangote refinery down by suddenly wake up to bring the Port Harcourt refinery to life, because it has been there for more than 7-8 years, and nothing was done until a single private person got up to build his refinery and making it to work. Then they suddenly said, okay, Port Harcourt refinery is working now, and you want to tell me that the price of the petrol should remain the same, then what is the difference? We'll still be suffering what we are suffering today. If there's no subsidy in any way, then the suffering continues. I know not only the availability of petrol, but what of the price? There is sufferness in the land. There is problem in the land. Then even if you revive all all the refineries in Nigeria, about 4 of them. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any difference if the price are still what we are witnessing today.
Okay.
Because tomorrow, Dangote refinery may decide to hike its own price, and he will make his petrol available at all the time. Is that how we continue? So as a government, they're supposed to give us lower price than they are giving. It's not that because the loading cost is like this, the landing cost is like this, and they will do the same thing. Where is the crude oil coming from? Where are they refining it from? Can't we refine our crude oil in Nigeria and sell in Nigeria so that the price will go down?
Okay.
It's unfortunate the way they are doing us is not good.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning and welcome to the show. Your name and location.
Yes, my name is Kanka Abdul. As usual, I'm calling from Iriawa.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's not yet time for deviation. We want to test the running of the refineries in Port Harcourt first before we start debating. I have my feeling and my fear that we are not going to face collapse of the refinery very soon. Because with the way, in a hurry, they have resuscitated the refinery in Port Harcourt, I can see that we are going to run into a crisis. At the last week I said, yes, the government or the authority concerned woke up to challenge Dangote's refinery. And if you are challenging somebody where you are not prepared, I think you will not last long. Let us not see the collapse of the refinery like what we are experiencing from electricity collapse or generation. I can see that we are not serious. The government is not serious to put the structures functioning. Yes, what are we waiting for over 10 years to rehabilitate the refinery by the government or the authorities concerned? We have the giant NFPC in Africa. We have the best crude oil in Africa, and yet we cannot manage them. Our own issue is with management, and perhaps republishing or servicing our institutions. We allow all the institutions to collapse completely. You know, it's more difficult to resuscitate an existing structure than building a new one. When you are building a new one, you have master plan. It will cost you less. But when you want to rehabilitate a structure that is dilapidated, you are bound to pay more. So to me, it's not yet time to debate that one refinery is working out of 3 or 4. We want to see within the next 2 months, all the refineries are put into use and Nigerians will benefit from them. But, however, we appreciate their efforts. And I congratulate them for single-handedly challenging the government of this country. Without Dangote today, I'm telling you, you cannot see sugar or salt anywhere, and it is terrible. I'm not happy about the rehabilitation of Port Harcourt until I see it working. Let us watch it. Let it work for the next weeks or months. If it doesn't collapse, then you can celebrate. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Okay, so we'll be able to take only one call, and afterwards I return back to my guest to have for him to be able to answer your questions this morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning and welcome to the show. Your name and location.
I'm calling from Warumpa.
Mustafa, welcome.
And good morning, sir. I guess in the studio. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
I think the news about this refinery of Port Harcourt is a welcome development because that's what we have been clamoring for a very long time. And country like a producing oil country like Nigeria is supposed to have a functional and operational refinery like that. So we hope that they will allow the people to invest. federal government allowing people if they cannot maintain those refineries. They should allow the investors people that have the money. And they should make it an open market that anybody can invest and make a profit so that we can have those mini refineries in each and every state in Nigeria. We can have the product available and the market and all the economy, everything will be stronger and stable in Nigeria. That's our hope and pray. We have other people like Aliko Dangote and other businessmen. We invest and consider the masses and employ people. I see many people have even work. But we create more job and economy employment. We don't have a problem of fuel scarcity if we have a different refinery in each and every state. So we hope everybody will enjoy it. And we are very happy about the development. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mustafa. Okay, so you've heard from the guest this morning, and it's safe to say majority of the callers this morning are actually lamenting, about the fact that the price is still same. They were looking forward, to a reduction in price of petrol. But then you said it earlier before. What was the term you used? Supply and demand. Yes, actually determines, the price in the market. So we'll start with somebody said something. Alhaji Isa Bala said it's not a surprise. For him, it's not a surprise. He said it's a welcome development, but then he's advising the government to actually try as much as possible to also diversify, in the sense that they should take their mind off, or look at other sectors in the country, Nigeria, not only the crude oil, sector, the oil sector in our country. What's your take on that?
Yeah. So apart from the demand and supply, so there are key variables, which are the market factors of the costs. The costs, like I talk about, the currency and the commodity, which it does not change by the refiner's interest or the marketer's interest. So the first caller, what caught my mind was the first caller that talked about the Malta, the imported products being cheaper than the local ones. So the market is open up to now. So marketers can buy from Malta if they want, if they can buy from Belgium and come to Nigeria and sell. So they are not forced to buy from Nigeria. If you can find a cheaper petroleum product elsewhere, then go ahead and bring it, because it's competition. And it depends on the cost efficiency. Some refiners are cost efficient. They can refine at cheaper costs. Some, they refine at higher cost, even if they are local refineries. And maybe the time when we are importing cheaper, that was perhaps when there was subsidy, because there was a time when subsidy was provided, but it was not announced. So the market is free. And talking about the diversification, of course, but even if we diversify, we are not letting go of oil sector, because we have a lot of more than 37 billion barrels of crude oil deposit. The one that we have 90% assurance. But if you put those that we have 50% assurance, the number is big. We have 4 times natural gas. We have 4 times more natural gas than the oil. So for us to say we let go of the petroleum sector, oil sector, it doesn't come. But it's good to develop agriculture. As long as agriculture is not giving us foreign exchange, we're not there yet. And the only way we can revamp any sector is to bring foreign direct investment. Even the oil sector we're talking about is because people brought money. So if agriculture is only invested by Nigerians, it won't go anywhere. We have to see money coming from other countries, from investors across the world, investing in modern agriculture. That's when agriculture will also play a rubber role with the oil.
Okay, so
and someone talked about surprise. So I mean, the commencement of the operation, even though there were hopes that okay, it's coming, but when is it? Yeah, the final notice was a surprise, and I believe NPC should continue with this kind of surprise, not giving people hope. And someone also talked about privatization. And what we have right now is more of that, because the NNPCL is a commercialized company. It's there to make profit. And they hired a private operator on his behalf. So the issue of maintenance is guaranteed. We're not going to have that kind of bad maintenance because we have a competent operator. And someone also talked about NNPC refinery is government-owned, but it should be cheaper than the other one. Yes, it should be cheaper, but is it efficient? What if the NNPC refinery is not efficient? So the marketer is sometimes may not be efficient. For example, if you buy cheaper petrol from an NNPCL refinery, but you as a transporter or as a marketer, you are not efficient. You are using expensive fuel for your transportation. Of course, you're going to sell at an expensive price. So there are two layers there. The refiner might sell it cheaper, but the marketer might sell it more expensive. So it doesn't matter the refiner if the marketer is not efficient. And even if you have the NNPC refineries selling at a cheaper price, but if you look at their capacity, right now for Port Harcourt refinery, what we can count at maximum is 3 million liters of PMS per day. And if you compare to the demand of about 50, 60 million, that's insignificant. Even if that's sold at a subsidized price, majority of Nigerians will still buy it at an expensive price.
Okay, so I've got two questions for you before we wrap things up. Do you think the NMPCL will surprise us with Kaduna and others soon? Because the president actually came out on Tuesday. Everyone was excited, and then he said they should get on work, get the Kaduna and then the Warri refinery and also the second Port Harcourt refinery. They should get it working. Do you think they will surprise us the same way they have?
Yeah, success breeds success. If you achieve one success, you are motivating yourself to achieve more. And then you're having the confidence that you can do it. And then if you can achieve this milestone, then you are encouraged to do the next. And we've seen the benefit. And like one of the callers said, the Dangote is challenging the NNPCL. And they really don't want to lose the market. They're losing the influence. So the best way to keep their influence is to bring more competitors to Dangote refinery.
And on to the last question. Alhaji Sharabutu said the maintenance culture of our country, Nigeria, it's not a good one. And Hamza Abdul from Area 1 said it's not yet time for jubilation. He's given them, from now up until 2 months to see if they will still be functioning.
Yeah, I agree with him, because it's not about just the headlines. It's about what happens in the next 3-4 months. So Nigerians should watch and see how sustainable this is going to be. But I'm hopeful, because the refinery is going to be managed by a foreigner. A foreign company is going to be brought to Nigeria that have international experience, and they will be the one to make decisions, to take operational control, and even procurement, buying stuff that are necessary for the production. So they are the ones to make the decision. It's not NNPCL. It's not the government. It's a private company that is coming to operate this refinery. So this gives us hope that the issue of maintenance, it will not be the normal scenario. It's not going to be as usual experience. So I'm hopeful that the maintenance culture will improve and this refinery will last longer.
Okay, so thank you very much. That has been Professor Ahmed Adamu, a petroleum economist. Thank you very much for coming around this morning. And a very big thank you to you for calling in to be part of the conversation this morning. My name remains PCSS. Stay tuned to Vision FM 92.1, your community friendly radio. And the producer for today's edition of Burgami was OJ Matthew. Stay tuned to Vision FM 92.1, your community friendly radio.